Hey my people, welcome to this edition of Beneath the Surface here on the Q with Q. It's me, your host, Quentin R. Jiles, and we are going to be talking about the Meghan Markle and Prince Harry interview that aired this week.
There was some real obvious signs before we even got married that this was going to be really hot.
So normally I do not get into celebrity shenanigans or celebrity goings-ons. Like, I really like to stick to the politics. But I was all the way drawn into this interview that happened with Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, and Oprah. The promos were making it seem like they were just gonna let it rip, and rip they did.
These are the most explosive claims the royal family has ever faced. Meghan and Harry dropping bombshell after bombshell on race, on bigotry, on lies, on spin.
I mean, from Meghan talking about her mental health moments, her thoughts of suicide, being scared to be alone, to Harry choosing his wife over his life. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. I mean, the entire thing was riveting. I was drawn all the way in. I know so many of us were rooting for Meghan, specifically because she was mixed race, and you know, we like, hey baby, if you got a little bit of black in you, baby, you're black. You're one of us. And to see her, you know, truly be in love with Harry and I guess you could say ascend to the royal family over there across the pond was like, okay, sis, get in the palace, let's do it. But to find out that on the inside how terrible and tragic it was, I was upset. Now, we have all seen, I saw it, Meghan constantly be berated by the British tabloids, by the British press. We've seen Prince Harry come out and like sue some people over there, like, bro, you're not just about to, you know, just be doing any old thing to my wife and saying any old thing to my wife.
No one wants to admit that there's anything about race or that race has played a role in the trolling and the vitriol.
And I think the thing for me was, it was kind of expected, almost. And I'm speaking as me, Quentin, hi, how you doing, a black man. It was kind of almost expected that they were always going to criticize her and that they were always going to pick her apart based on her ethnicity, and maybe even based on her being an American, right? And based on her being an actress and all of these other things. And like, is it real? Does she really love Harry? All that stuff. Like, you could kind of see that whole thing coming. What made me gag and made me clutch my pearls was that, like, the palace, the infrastructure, if you will, of the monarch did nothing to protect her.
That was right at the beginning when she wasn't going to get security, when members of my family were suggesting that she carries on acting because there's not enough money to pay for her and all this sort of stuff. Like,
Meghan came out and said, you know, they would go out and basically shoot down trivial stories that didn't even make sense to make sure that they didn't spread and grow, but that they wouldn't come out and shoot down stories about her that they knew were not true, and they left her unprotected, although they told her, we will protect you. What a space to be in, right? Not only did Meghan leave her career, leave her home, leave her mom over here, right? To go and marry a prince. And yeah, I think we have this idea of what princes are and the whole fairy tale deal. You know, sis probably thought she was finna marry Aladdin, right? Aladdin was a fake prince, right? Oh, he was a fake prince, but it turned out all good. You know, it turned out him and Abu and all them over there dining with the genie. In our minds, I think like, wow, Meghan married this prince, you know, it's gonna be a fairy tale deal. And sis was like really, really hurting in the background.
The lights are about to come on. Everyone's looking at us again, and you have to just be on again.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, so important for people to remember, is you have no idea what's going on for someone behind closed doors. You have no idea. Even the people that smile the biggest smiles and shine the brightest lights, it seems, to have compassion for what's actually potentially going on.
And I thought the most poignant part for me, even a part of like why I'm wearing this shirt, even though it says "you good, bruh," I wear this sometimes because as men, we don't really take care of our mental health or really express the things that we're going through, and we're just expected to be strong. I didn't put this shirt on for Meghan, but I knew I was gonna talk about Meghan today. And I was like, oh, I got the shirt on, like let's hit the camera, let's record. But I think that the fact that Meghan was able to identify that something wasn't right speaks volumes, and I want to give her kudos on that. She talked about those feelings of suicide, being trapped because no one was helping her, and having to deal with conversations apparently between someone who they wouldn't name, but you know, in the infrastructure of the palace and the royal family and all of that, having conversations with Harry about how dark their child Archie's skin would have been.
What?
So,
There is a conversation. Hold up.
there's
Stop
several
right now.
there's several conversations.
There's a
about it
conversation with you
with Harry.
about how dark your baby is going to be?
Potentially, and what that would mean or look like.
Ooh. And you're not going to tell me who had the conversation?
I think that would be very damaging to them.
I was all the way taken back by that. I can only imagine how Meghan felt, but I was like, do what now? And maybe this is just me. And I'm like, well, Meghan has very fair skin. Harry has white skin. Like, Archie ain't gonna come out looking like me. You know, he gonna have to pull all the way back, you know, in the family somewhere. But the chances that he's gonna come out as beautiful as this skin is and as others that share this tone, darker tones, all of that, he would be fair skinned like he is. Like, what? I'm not understanding. Someone help me understand why this is even a conversation. But for that conversation to be had with Harry, and then, you know, Harry bringing it back to his wife Meghan, and her having to deal with that, her having to deal with them not wanting to give their son Archie a title when it was customary to do so. He's the son of the prince. Not wanting to give him security, although they are more than famous, they're royal. Like, you're in the royal family. And when I say royal, not that I personally am showing deference to, like, oh my gosh, the royals, but y'all the royal family. Like, that's what y'all do over there. That's the institution you have over there. So why would you not give her and her son, the son of the prince, security? From Harry coming out saying that they stripped his security. You know, that's a lot to deal with. So I just want to say shout out to Meghan for recognizing that something was wrong. Shout out to her for not being scared to tell Harry about those thoughts of suicide. She made it a point to say, you know, she did feel a type of way because she knew that he had experienced loss and that he had, you know, already dealt with so much with his mother's passing and things like that. She didn't specifically say her mother's passing, but that's kind of what I took from it when she made the comment about him already dealing with so much. That's what I took from it when she already made the comment of him dealing with so much, but she still kind of pressed through that and told her husband how she was feeling. And then she took those feelings, this suicidal thought and ideation, and told the powers that be of the palace, like, hey, I need to see someone. I need to go somewhere. Something's not right. And for her to be shot down and turned away based on what it would look like if she went away to go deal with her mental health issues is tragic on their part. Absolutely tragic on their part. But for her to still persevere through that, I just have to give kudos and flowers to that.
No, the public is looking at you, and to think that you, earlier in the day, had said to Harry that you didn't want to be alive anymore.
It was like, these are the thoughts that I'm having in the middle of the night that are very clear.
Clarification.
And I'm scared because this is very real. This isn't some abstract idea. This is methodical, and this is not who I am. But we had to go to this event, and I remember him saying, I don't think you can go. And I said, I can't be left alone.
Because you were afraid of what you might do to yourself?
That many of you know, and some may not know, I have a background in social work. I have an undergrad and a graduate degree in social work. Been a psychiatric social worker in an emergency room where people literally try to kill themselves. I have seen suicide letters with the blood stained on it. So for her to recognize that she could potentially be on the same track, whether she physically harmed herself like that or any other way to commit suicide, for her to acknowledge it, for her to share it, to tell someone, to ask for help, and to get shut down in such a dark state and to still persevere, I just gotta give kudos to my sis. Like, that's hard. That's very hard. And that is just me speaking from a perspective of seeing people who have legitimately tried to take their own life because they have not felt that there was any way out. So kudos to Meghan, kudos to Harry, because I know it wasn't easy to walk away from his life. I said in the beginning of this video, kudos to him for choosing his wife over his life. And what I meant by that is he's the prince, right? He is the prince, the royal family. He got the coin. He's traveling around, seeing people, having fun, you know, doing his princely duties, but saw that his wife was hurting, the woman he chose to be with, the woman he said, I'm going to do life with, his other half, and to say, this whole situation is not working for us. And I am going to choose this woman who I have chosen to make this covenant with, and I am going to forsake all of this because this is not working for my family. That's not easy either. Like, I don't think that we should dismiss or move past Harry's story in this, along with Meghan's story, right? That's not easy to do. So kudos to him for standing up and choosing his wife over his life. I didn't want to spend a good amount of this video talking about the salacious stuff yet. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It is fascinating. It is riveting. I wanted to talk about the mental health aspect, about suicide. If you are someone who is dealing with suicidal thoughts, actions, intentions specifically, or even more so, if you have a plan on how you would do it, please seek help. There is a national suicide prevention line. I gotta look at my phone. You can call 888-273-8255. Again, 888-273-8255. That is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Trust me and believe me, you have so much more life on the other side of these terrible and horrible, and I would even say wicked thoughts. I know a lot of people follow me and a lot of people won't have an ear to hear this part, but I would be remiss if I didn't say it. Those thoughts are nothing but thoughts from the devil. That's what I believe. My Bible, my God tells me that the devil is roaming around looking for who he can devour. And I could not help but to think about that as Meghan was talking about her experience of that despair of wanting to take herself out. We reject that in the name of Jesus. It is my prayer that anybody that sees this video, if you are experiencing this, to please get help. There is so much more life on the other side of wanting to take your own life.
It takes so much courage to voice that. As I said, I was ashamed. I'm supposed to be stronger than that.
Nobody should have to go through that.
It takes so much courage to admit that you need help.